A Sapphire Running Zone podcast.
Hi everyone, this is Tim from the Sapphire Running Zone, and this is another in our Runner Stories podcast series. And today we are joined by Ceri in sunny Exeter. Ceri has been on a running journey for quite a little while, and she's got some big goals planned. So let's hear all about it. Welcome, Ceri. Tell us why you got into running in the first place, and what your goals are. And also tell us who you work for, because obviously that's relevant, very relevant.
Hi, Tim, and hello, everyone that's listening. So I work for a cancer charity here in Exeter called Force, and my job is community fundraising officer. So I look after anybody who's putting on an event in the community. And the part of my job that I love the most is supporting runners, anything exercise-based really, but supporting the fundraiser from agreeing to sign up for one of the runs to completing their first ever half or full marathon is where I get the most joy.
Right. So talk us through why you got into running in the first place. What motivated you to get started?
Yeah, so growing up, I wasn't into exercise at all. Actually, I was really overweight as a kid, avoided any PE. My mum would write me a note every single week to get out of PE, hated it, hated anything that involved me, my heart rate going over like 120, avoided. And then I lost quite a lot of weight through a slimming world and needed a way of keeping that weight off, and just started running on the treadmill in the gym just as a bit of cardio. Back then I was early 20s. It was really easy to keep weight off. Very different story now. I'm nearly 40. Latter part of 2011, my mum died of cancer, and I needed an outlet, something to do that would keep my mind off of all of that. And, I was a young mum, so focusing on something that wasn't being a mum. And I started running 5Ks. So, like when anyone starts off, they do the first thing, which was to search for a local 5K. And of course, everything that comes up is cancer research, Race for Life, Macmillan runs, anything with a big, like national charities, not so much small local charities. So I did quite a lot of 5Ks. I actually did 10 5Ks over about 6 years, I'd say. And the buzz of the crowds and getting medals and being congratulated was something that I thrive off of. So that's where I knew that I was onto something.
Right. And you went from 5K then to 10K.
Yeah, so I did 5Ks and then did a couple of 10Ks and was like, okay, this distance actually isn't too bad. So I could probably manage a half marathon, but really thought if I was going to give my everything to a half marathon fundraise, it's going to have to be for something pretty special. And at that point, I wasn't working for a charity. I was working in the NHS, and I wasn't even contemplating a half marathon. It was only when I joined Force in 2023 that I realized we did half marathons, and I thought, I'm just going to sign up for a half marathon to see what happens.
And what was the difference in your training then over a 5K? Was it more days or just longer distances that you were doing?
So when I was doing 5Ks, I was just doing like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes 3 times a week. And I wasn't following a training plan. I was just running on how I felt. And I didn't know anything about pace targets and fueling and, incline and tempo and speed work like that. As a beginner, I didn't know any of that.
Right. Okay. So which was your first half?
So my first half was actually Bath half, which I signed up for because I heard that the crowds were incredible, and they really are. The thing that got me through Bath half was all the kids with the bowls of sweets. And so I was just dipping my hands in jelly babies. I mean, I had never even been told how to fuel for runs. So for my first 3 half marathons, I hadn't eaten a single thing since the day before, because I would get a stitch because I didn't know how to fuel properly. Again, something that beginner runners have no idea unless they're from a running family or they have friends that run, like they wouldn't know that. So my first half marathon was Bath half last year, ran it in 2:33. So I thought, reasonable time for a first timer. Second one, a few months later, I did Forces Great West Run, 2:31. So a couple minutes off, given the massive hill. I was like, okay, this is good. Then I had Cheltenham in September last year, and I had been really poorly. So I had no food in me the night before. I hadn't slept. I was running on nothing. Now, when I say nothing, I got to mile 6 and I called my boyfriend and I said, "You're going to have to come and run it with me because I will not finish." And bless him, he's not a runner. He's he does bodybuilding, and he ran with me for the last 6 miles, just saying, "Keep going. Right, remember why you're doing this. Do not give up." And I did in 2:45, which I thought, okay, I did it. And then after I'd done that, I thought, I'm going to have to start learning how to fuel, and I'm going to have to start weight training, because I had done weight training years ago, but as a younger woman, I was like, oh, I'm going to get really big and bulky. And that's not the case, obviously. So trained really hard for Bath Half again this year, and I shaved 16 minutes off because I weight trained and I fueled. So I was pretty impressed with that.
What point then did you decide that you wanted to do longer distances? Because I understand now that you've got big plans. Tell us what those plans are.
Yeah, so I done my half marathons, ran Bath Half this year, and I looked at my recovery time, and luckily for me, I'm really quick at recovering, and I think that's because I naturally 80% of the time eat really healthy. I exercise a lot, like I exercise six days a week for an hour to hour and a half a day. Like I love it, love. So I realized that, so with my new line manager, she was very much like, what do you love in your job and what do you not love? So I told her what I don't love, and I told her that I love running. And I was thinking, oh, Manchester would be quite good. Like I imagine like the Northerners, like they love a good day out, like cheering everyone on, like just on par with London Marathon, really, and no one can get a spot in that. So I went to my line manager, I said, like, I'd like to get some places in these marathons. I would love to run Manchester Marathon for Force, and I will set my fundraising ask at £1,000. So I'm proving to you that I'm invested. She was like, yeah, sure. See how you get on. I'm running Manchester Marathon next year, which I'm training for at the moment. And then the other week I was like, hang on, if I'm training for a marathon and they say that an ultra is easier than a marathon because you walk, run it, and you eat snacks along the way, then surely it makes sense to book an ultra straight after, because I'll be at my highest, fittest levels.
Well, that's certainly a target to go from a half to an ultra. In what time frame? When was the last half you did?
March.
Right. Well, why not? It's there to be beaten, isn't it? Which was your favourite of the halves that you've done?
So Bath Half was my favourite because no one knows you. The route is really good. Like there is a bit which you go out and back, and there's not a huge amount of crowds, but I like Bath because of where it is and the culture, and everyone gets together. And anyone that ever asks me, I say run Bath Half as your first. But Force, you know, the Great West Run in Exeter, with Force being charity partner, it's just another level. Like having your colleagues hand you your medal, running through a city that you know and love, you live in, you see people along route. Like one of the places that Great West Run is, you run through a road that goes through some woods, and you go out and you come back on the same road. So you're passing people that are running faster than you, but they're people that are also running for Force. So I was running one end while people that were running like a 2-hour half marathon were running next to me. And I was like, yeah, Force, like cheering them on. And they were then cheering me on, and just running up the water station hill with people that I work with every day was just a whole other level. And, you know, shout out to the Force team because they do such an incredible job every year at encouraging the runners. And I think this year we're on target to get 400 to 500 runners again. So, yeah, any shout out, anyone that wants to run a half marathon in Exeter, Great West Run's your run for Force, obviously.
You have to raise how much then to get a spot?
Yeah, so it's £20 sign-up fee with a £90 minimum fundraising ask, which is probably a fifth of most half marathon fundraising asks, so it's really low. We just ask that you set up your Just Giving page straight away, because that unlocks your running vest. So if you don't do a Just Giving page, you don't get a running vest. If you don't get a running vest, you don't really feel like you're running for a charity. And that's our way of encouraging people to sign up early to get the most amount of fundraising.
Must be an amazing team spirit then. I mean, you felt it. All the other runners must feel it, because it's very unusual that you run a half marathon with a team of charity runners of that scale. That must be quite a feeling.
I know. And I was working at Uni Hill this year, so I didn't see what it was like at Exeter Arena, but they took a huge photograph of all of the runners, and it's gone on most of our social media and also our Force Matters magazine that goes out twice a year. And that on the spread just looks something else. The
Mm.
sea of blue, as we call it.
Tell me a little bit more about you and your love of exercise. Why has it become so important to you? And have you seen real health benefits?
Yeah, so running isn't for everyone. I get that. For those people that are like, I hate running, you've just got to find your why. Like, I was very much anti running. I was like, why would I want to be sweaty? Why would I want to feel like my heart's falling out of my chest? Like, why? And then once you start finding your why, so my why is it's a way of clearing my head. ADHD, like, it's really important for me to find a focus that I can just look dead into the treadmill and I don't have to think about anything else, and it calms my brain. And my boyfriend always says that he can really tell when I haven't been for a run. I'm snappy, I'm moody, I'm all over the place. Like, a run for me, if I could run every day, I would. Like, I love it. And I feel like running when you have a why, so running for a charity, running because your friend needs your support, like, that's the thing that I love the most. Like, I like to help my friends become runners because I can see how beneficial it is for me. Obviously, I ran because I wanted to keep my weight off that I'd lost. I used to run because my mum died of cancer and I needed a focus and I needed something that I could just have a no thought process in my brain. And that was running for me 13 years ago. So running for me now is to keep my heart healthy, to keep my body strong, like running into 40. I could keep hearing all these horror stories about as soon as you hit 40, middle age spread and, your body starts shutting down. And, now I'm knocking on 40's door. I'm thinking, okay, I need to really look after myself. I've got a daughter, she's nearly 17 and I want her to look at me and be like, wow. I mean, she doesn't at the moment. She hates my guts, but I want her to look at me and be like, wow, like, what a superwoman. She can do it all. And, running for me right now is just a way of me being able to keep my S together, like have a routine and a purpose and a focus every single week.
So you think then in terms of dealing with ADHD, it's made a real difference to your life?
Massive. Like, I just don't know my ass from my elbow every day. Like, I'm all over the place. I can't finish tasks. I can't focus. Like, I'm a planner. I love plans, but I can't stick to them and I can't manage them. Whereas running, weirdly, like, running is just, if I've got a plan, almost feel like I'm letting myself down if I don't finish it. So once I have a plan in place, there is not a single day that I will deviate. So like Tuesday this week, I had an osteopath appointment, which I completely forgot about. So I couldn't do my tempo run. So I did it yesterday. But now today is time for another run, whereas I would normally have a gap. But I'm like, no, the plan says it, I must follow it. Whereas normal plans, I'd just be all over the place. I don't even have a to-do list at work. I just keep it all in here and hope to God that it really sticks, and it doesn't.
Do you find that a run in the morning is better for that, or the evening?
Yeah, so runs for me much better in the morning. I'm at my sharpest in the morning. Obviously I can just have a piece of toast and I haven't got the whole day's worth of food floating around in my stomach. I find running in the morning, have a shower, sets me up for my day. My long run is always on a Saturday morning. That's a non-negotiable. Unfortunately, plans will have to be made at other times. That is my long run day.
And what about your fundraising? How have you, have you got a sort of formula? And how many of the runs that you've done so far have you fundraised for? Because obviously you get into this whole world of donor fatigue, don't we? If you do it too many times. So what's your approach been, and what's your approach going to be for Manchester?
I know it's really tricky for any runner that runs regularly to try and convince people to donate money to them to do something that they're good at. Like, I was listening to your earlier podcast and I was listening to one of the vegan runners who said, like, why would anyone sponsor me when I run regularly? Like, it's not a challenge. Like, I do get that. So I did fundraise for Force last year and I raised, without gift aid, it was like 600 quid, which I thought was pretty good because everyone was like, what? You're going to run a half marathon? No, like, no. And the same again with Manchester. So I am raising money for Manchester. And I started off with this isn't for me, this is for force. Like, the incredible work that they do. All you have to do is donate £2. I mean, I've got the gift. I could sell snow to an Eskimo. It's up to, my page is at about 700 quid now, and
Wow.
we're still 6 months away and I haven't really pushed it. I had a really big donation from my boyfriend's boss, or old boss. It was like 250 quid. He was just like, here, have it. Like, it's fine. But I'm very much of, you can spare £2. Like, what's £2 to you? Most people can afford that. And that's what I say to my runners. Just start off with messaging everyone in your contact list. Like, I'm running for this charity. They do incredible work. This is what they do. I hope to God you never need them. But if you could donate £2 to my page, that would be amazing. Don't ask big, ask small, because you're more likely to get more people to donate to your page.
And have you done any fundraising events?
Yeah, so I haven't actually done any fundraising because I fundraise as a job. So I'm just like, no. But I have a friend called Sean, shout out Sean, and she asked me if I would mind looking after the kids. And I was like, yeah, I'll come babysit, but you need to donate to my page. So she did. So here for babysitting favours whenever you like. Although I don't know if she'll ask me again because I let her kids stay up really late. The beginner runners, your easiest bets are, if you work for a business, put on a coffee morning, get everyone to bake cakes, raise money that way. Bucket collections, I know that's been mentioned before, but if you can get a bucket collection license and go and do it on the street or go to a supermarket, they'll let you stand outside for the day. And we've got a lovely lady called Louise. She does so much for Force after her partner died of cancer, and she does bucket collections at the local supermarkets, and she makes about 300 quid for a day's work. I know it's a long day, but when it's just you doing it, you take all that money, or you invite a couple of your friends along. And that's half your fundraising ask just in one day. To anyone that's listening that's a beginner runner, bucket collection, £2 donations, they're your best bet.
Yeah, it's interesting with the bucket thing. I think a lot of people assume they're not going to raise much if they do that, because they probably don't see many people putting it in when they watch other people doing it. But I've heard a lot of fundraising managers say exactly the same thing, that it actually raises more than you think it will. So when are you sort of turning your attention to Manchester when it comes to the training, or have you pretty much started? Because it's still a long way away, and obviously on the basis of a 20-week plan, we haven't started yet, have we?
I should start at the end of November, but I had started early because I was planning on running Tiverton Canal half marathon, which had just gone, but they were full. Basically, I wanted to leave it to the last minute to see what the weather was like. So I don't really want to run a half marathon in the rain. And I know that Manchester's probably going to be pouring down rain because it's Manchester. But I had already started peaking too early with my long runs. So up to last week, my long runs were around 12 miles. So I thought I'm going to scale it back because I don't want to peak too early. I don't want to get an injury in January and then be like right back at the beginning again. I want to be in optimal position to do well at this race. And I see an incredible woman called Abby at Rebalance Fitness. She does sports massage and therapy. I've been seeing her for 7 years now, and I swear I put it down to me never getting an injury because of her.
So remind me of the distance of the ultra that you've got scheduled for July then.
Yeah, so the ultra is 50k.
Yeah, the marathon's 42k. So walk in the park.
Okay, so not too much further. But I think for me, it's the fact that I don't do outdoor running. Even training for my halves, I train on treadmill.
Do you? Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, I might do the odd park run with a friend, but that's more for them than it is for me. But with regards to actual training, all done on, I have a treadmill in my house. I love it. The focus, like I can run for 3 hours on a tread staring at the wall. But when I go outside, I'm distracted. I'm distracted by people and noises and, sensory overload. Like for me, it's a massive struggle running outdoors.
Right. And that's linked to the ADHD then, do you think?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
okay. And that's dealt with completely by running on a treadmill.
But, I will go outside and run. Like if someone says, oh, do you want to come out for a run? I won't say no because it's a great way of socializing and meeting up with people. But it's not something I love. And the only reason I run half marathons and now marathons outdoors is because I have to. They force me to go there.
I did the Berlin Marathon years ago and trained purely on the treadmill for that. That was the first time I'd ever done a marathon having trained purely on a treadmill. And I just wanted to see what that was like. It does give you a very different focus, because obviously you're very much more aware of how quickly you're running, or slowly in most of our cases, because it's right there in front of you on the dial. Whereas, yes, of course, we're all using Runkeeper or Strava, whatever it is, but it's not right there in front of you. It's in your hand on your phone. So it's you get a different take on speed when you're running on a treadmill. And like you said, it's just a very different environment. You haven't got to worry about other people. You haven't got to worry about cars or pedestrians walking across in front of you, or
The
lights.
weather.
Yeah, weather, absolutely. That was really interesting, Ceri. Now, tell us before we go, if someone wants one of your marathon, half marathon places, how do they go about getting one?
Yeah, so if you want one of our marathon, half marathon, or we do a Great West Run 10K, if you just go into Google, type Force Cancer Charity runs, it will take you to our Runs for Charity page, where you can choose which race suits you most. So obviously, like I said, we're charity partner for the Great West Run, so that's an easy one if you live in Devon. But alternatively, you can't do that race. We've got Cardiff, Cheltenham at the moment, and then there'll be more spots coming up next year for the marathons. And we also have access to marathons abroad, so all my details are on that page, so just send me an email.
Right, and what about a quick email address?
Yeah, so I'll give if I spell my name, everyone will get confused. So Force, as in force to be reckoned with, so Force, FR, at forcecancercharity.co.uk, and that'll take people straight through to our Force fundraising team.
Right, fantastic. Well, let's hope we get lots of people joining up as a result of this. Brilliant. Look, really appreciate your time, and well, you've got some fantastic training to come, haven't you? It's going to be an adventure, that's for sure.
Year.
Well, it certainly is. Yeah. So you've done a brilliant job so far, and all the best with the training for Manchester. I think you'll have an incredible experience, and fingers crossed it doesn't rain.
Oh, thanks, Tim.
Thanks for listening to this Sapphire Running Zone podcast. Keep checking back, as we have lots more podcasts coming soon.